Good evening, everyone. It is Monday, June 16th. It is 6:03 p.m. This is a special meeting of the Town Council. Will everyone rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Following town council members are present in chambers: Persico, Kohut, Formicella, O'Rourke, Wales, Duva. The following town council members present remotely: Mauer. The following town council members are absent as of 6:04 p.m. Enid Lapellis and Kevin Reed. Moving on to communications, I ask that our single communication be incorporated into the minutes of our meeting. Finally, moving on to number 4, new business, which is House Bill 5002. All right, good evening, everyone. Just as a beginning of discussion on this item, there was a request at our last town council meeting as to inquire as if town council wanted to make a statement regarding the legislature's passage of House Bill 5002, which involves housing matters. It purports to have significant changes made to local planning zoning authorities, as well as has significant implications on the funding of municipalities based upon their compliance of the newly passed legislation. During the course of the passage and after the passage, numerous local leaders have weighed in on this topic. Representative Tony Scott, Senator Jason Perillo, and Senator Sujata Gadkar Wilcox all issued statements in opposition of the final language that was adopted by our legislature in House Bill 5002. That bill is currently before the governor, awaiting his signature and or veto. There has been significant discussion with the office of the governor and legislative leaders about the scope of the bill, its specific language, and certain changes that the governor would like to be made to this bill. He has, however, reserved his decision as to whether to veto the bill or not. I believe he has at least a few more days, if not a week, to decide whether he will or will not veto this housing bill. Given the significant scope of the bill and the significant impact potentially on municipalities, specifically municipalities like the town of Monroe, our legislative leaders in the House and Senate came out against the bill as currently constructed. That is not to say that there aren't changes directed towards attempting to solve a housing crisis in Connecticut, a housing crisis that is nationally present as well. But that this bill is, I believe, as one legislators put it, is a one-size-fit-all solution to a problem that needs individualized attention and have significant impacts on all our communities. As a result of that, Councilmember Kohut did ask to see what the appetite of town council was on making a statement regarding this bill and what the governor should or should not do, or if anything at all. And so I directed our subcommittee, our Planning, Zoning, Public Works, and Park and Recreation Subcommittee to meet last week. They did, in fact, meet. And I will ask Councilmember Duva for an update from that subcommittee meeting. Councilmember Duva.
Thank you. So we did meet last Thursday, I think it was. we discussed this. Ultimately, we decided, and I guess I should step back and just say, when Council Person Koa did propose this, it at least seemed that we were all going to be of one mind. That's kind of the premise that I was operating under. I thought it would be a good idea if we were all of one mind to let the governor know that, hey, look, both sides of the aisle in this town are opposed to this. And I thought that would be a good optic and would be something useful that may be persuasive towards him. Be it as it may, what we decided in the subcommittee was to recommend the town council send a letter to the governor expressing our displeasure with the legislation. We did not talk about the meat of it because I don't think we had an agreement as to the body of what was going to be said, just that we recommend that the whole town council should send something. Now, again, that's with the thought that we would all be of one mind and one voice. If we're not, then I don't know what's going to happen, but we're all free to contact the governor on our own, if we want to. But that's what it was. It was what I thought was a good intention, was a good optic, and would be persuasive. So that's how we left it.
Thank you very much.
Point of order.
Sure.
To help clarify the record, just getting back from vacation when we held this subcommittee meeting, I thought I was pretty clear with regards to not being in favor of a town council letter. And I thought at the end of the meeting, the discussion was to put it forward before town council to decide whether or not to go with First Selectman Rooney's letter or to proceed with a separate, unique town council letter that would be worded. So I just want to clarify the record that there was no agreement, at least on my part, that I was in favor of a town council letter. Quite to the contrary, and I thought I was being pretty adamant about it during that subcommittee meeting. So I just want to straighten the record out.
All right, thank you very much. I mean, for what it's worth, this is a general discussion. There's no motion on the table. I think it's good to probably take the temperature of town council if there was a consensus as to some type of unified message or a unified response to this. And so just putting my thoughts on the table is that I believe this bill, while potentially well-intentioned and addressing a significant area of need, both in our community and other communities, related to housing and the need for more affordable housing for families of all shapes and sizes, including young professionals, in order to buy their first home, which is critical to the growing needs of Connecticut and our country at large. That there are significant consequences as to the current language of the bill that have been identified by our leaders, by our legislators, Representative Scott, Senator Perillo, and Senator Scott Carr-Wilcox. Additionally, those issues were highlighted by our first selectman, Terry Rooney, in his June 10th, 2025 letter, which he sent to Governor Lamont. As for matter of policy or opinion related to whether or not town council should express an opinion in the form of a letter regarding a state matter, I think that is a matter of debate and a matter of moment and a matter of specific situation. And it's my opinion in this case that Monroe should speak with one voice, and that one voice, I believe, was accurately reflected in First Selectman Rooney's letter in addressing the specific concerns related to the town of Monroe. I believe that the letter accurately reflects at least my feelings on the bill and the concerns that I have for how Monroe will be impacted. That is not to say it reflects all my thoughts on it, or that it reflects everyone's thoughts on town council regarding this legislation. But I think it is important, at least in this case, for Monroe to speak with one voice. And I am comfortable and happy to move forward with just the first selectman's letter representing Monroe's voice in this case. And that I believe it would be unnecessary to add any additional response. And so it would be my opinion that town council not draft its own independent letter in this matter. And I will continue to leave the floor open for anyone else who would like to express their opinion. All right. Councilmember Kohut?
Thank you. So it was my intention in raising this issue that while we may all be in agreement with the first selectman's letter, that the effect of a bipartisan letter from an independent elected body has an additional significant impact on, perhaps a significant impact on the governor's response, whether he signs it into law or vetoes. However, having us independently respond as a unified body, both from the optics and from a town point of view, shows our ability to think independently of the first selectman, raise our own issues, and provide the town with the knowledge that we are in fact paying attention and looking out for the interests of the town as a bipartisan unified body in this particular instance. This bill has the potential to dramatically impact our town as well as others in a number of ways, not the least of which is our inability from an infrastructure point of view to respond to significant housing development. And I think it's important that we put that on the record as a body. Secondly, the financial impact is a separate impact. And finally, the willingness of the legislature of the state to provide developers with what looks almost to be carte blanche to do as they choose under certain commercial property development is significant to all of us and to the people that are listening to how we respond to this. So as independent elected officials, I think it is incumbent upon us to, when we are unified, to take that position and send it to the state when there is a bill of such potential significant impact to us when we do have that opportunity. And I do agree with all of the comments that we have a housing issue in this state that needs to be addressed. But this was a little too broad brush and did not consider the impact to each individual need of the towns and their ability to properly respond or support that potential level of growth. So thank you for letting me have my say.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Mr. Chair.
Councilmember Mauer, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, let me state I wholeheartedly agree with everything Councilwoman Kohut just said. Every single aspect of what she stated there is completely in alignment with my view. I think it would be a great gesture for bipartisan support of the council to do this. All that being said, I also am of the view that if we are going to send a letter or an opinion from council, that it be a unanimous item. If any council member does not feel we should send a letter, or we are in extreme disagreement of what that letter should say, I don't think it should come from council, but instead as any council person who does wish to express their views on the bill to send it individually. I know if we do not send a letter, I will be doing so, and I would urge my fellow council members who feel the same way to do so. Whether it is to agree with the selectmen's letter, which I thought that was a great letter that went out, or to express our own viewpoints and our own opinions as an individual. While I would like to see this council and this body send a letter, if there is any member who is against sending a letter, it's my viewpoint that it should not come from the council as a whole, as that should be a full body decision, or at least a unanimous decision of the members present at that time.
Thank you very much, Jason. Okay. Anybody else? Councilmember Persico.
I came in here thinking that we could just stand behind our first selectman's letter and that be that, but I think being the nature of this bill, that as many letters against it as the governor gets is all the better. So even encouraging our constituents to send letters and how it will affect our neighborhoods. So I am in agreement that we should also send a letter.
As a body?
As a town council body.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. All right. Any other comments?
Just to add, I agree with Councilman Mauer. It should be unanimous. It's not just a vote to force the other people to put their name on it if they're not interested in it. So I would not be supporting if we don't all agree.
Thank you. Councilmember O'Rourke.
The characterization or the word usage against, I have to take exception to that, the way that's being framed, by not agreeing with sending a town council letter by no means implies that I'm against the premise, that I'm against the absolute, the absolute concept of this bill and us not being in support of it. My view is, with regards to sending the strongest message to Connecticut, is to have a focused message primarily done by one entity in order to have the most, or to have the maximum amount of impact on that message being received. As was pointed out here a few moments ago, each member on town council, or for that matter, any citizen of Monroe, is more than capable and encouraged to send a letter to the representation, or whether it be the governor or the representatives or the two senators that represent us in the 21st and the 22nd. I'm looking for what I believe is the most effective way in which to communicate our message. And that, I believe, is done via the first selectman's message. Now, when we were going through, one of the reasons why the first selectman's message or letter might not be appropriate, there seemed to be a reference to the EMS. I'm looking at point 3, the population increase will put unnecessary pressure on our emergency services, as our EMS and fire departments are resident volunteers who are typically very busy with current call volume. I would like to think that that point covered the previous question that was brought up while we were discussing this. So I'm not sure if the letter was completely digested by all of us that are here tonight debating whether or not we should issue a separate letter or not. But I just wanted to at least highlight that point of the letter. And in my mind's eye, that seemed to cover the emergency management services component of the concerns that was expressed earlier.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else? Councilmember Wales.
I just want to say I'm more pro for allowing the first selectman to send a letter on behalf of all of us. I think it states in there the fact that he is doing just that, because he says that he speaks for the Monroe community and the administration. I don't know if a separate letter coming from a town council, a zoning, et cetera, like that, would be constructive. If that happens, it has to be carefully crafted from each of those entities that put something forward, so as not to contradict or which is in the first selectman's letter. So I think the support of the bipartisanship and the sense of all the governing bodies that have a role in this House bill is probably stated there in his first sentence there, that is coming from him and the administration.
Thank you. So I guess I don't want to summarize any individual person's feelings for this, but there does appear to be at least a difference of opinion as to whether or not town council should or can send a letter regarding this matter. There seems to be support for the first selectman's letter at this time. Is there any other business under item A? Okay, hearing no other business under item A, item A is concluded. And I'm going to adjourn this meeting at 6:24 p.m. Thank you, everyone. We'll be meeting next week.